Life looks different now for Jerry Falwell. The former president of Liberty University hasn't been able to share his side of the story in 4 years due to ongoing lawsuits.
Well, now those lawsuits are over. Falwell agreed to sit down with me and answer my questions. We met in a church on his farm in Good, where he walked me through everything that led to his resignation. It's a story you'll only see on ABC 13 tonight.
My children are more likely to see this victory won than I am.
In spring of 2007, when Jerry Falwell Sr. suddenly passed away, his son Jerry Jr. was thrust into his role as president of Liberty University.
All is well at Liberty. We've prepared for this transition for 15 years or more, and the right team is in place here. No one can replace Dad.
I do want to go back to, 2007 when your father passed away. What were your feelings at that time about taking over as president?
When they announced I was going to be president, a lot of students responded by saying, "Who's Jerry Falwell Jr.?" They didn't know. Yeah, so I had intentionally laid low. In addition to continuing our mission here of training champions for Christ,
it didn't take long for Falwell to find his own voice.
And sorry about that. That'll be the headlines.
He continued the tradition of bringing big names in politics to campus.
Get those teleprompters out of here. We're going to have some fun, right?
2007 to, flash forward 10 years beyond that. It seems like you took to the position well.
I slowly got used to it. It took a few years before I was comfortable with it. And
you became very comfortable with it.
But then I started enjoying it. Right. If some of those people in that community center had what I've got in my back pocket right now, I've always thought if more good people had concealed carry permits, then we could end those Muslims before they walk in and kill it.
Not afraid to be outspoken like your father in a lot of ways.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I always thought that way, but I felt like if I was in a position where I could make meaningful, good change for the country, I should do it. And so I did speak out on political issues, and that's probably what got me in trouble. I really believe Donald Trump is uniquely qualified to run this country, and I'm proud to be endorsing him.
You wanted to use your voice to create change. I think in a lot of ways we saw that over the years, but I think probably the biggest way that you used your voice for change was endorsing Donald Trump in 2016. Why did you think that was so important?
By the time I became president at Liberty, and I saw the way the country was headed, $20 trillion in debt, and just complete fiscal irresponsibility. The idea of a businessman for president made perfect sense to me.
Some people found that shocking because you were the head of the biggest evangelical school, this ministry that your father had created, and this was a controversial figure in things that he has said about women and some of his past indiscretions. So it was a shock maybe to some that this was where you were throwing your support. And let's be honest, that's also LU's support because you were the head of the university as well.
Well, I mean, technically, legally, no, but I mean, everybody, Well, my father got the same response when he supported Ronald Reagan, because Ronald Reagan was a movie star, had been married twice. And so a lot of people thought that was terrible. And I used the same line my father used 40 years before. I said, we're not electing a Sunday school teacher here. We're trying to elect somebody to run the country.
Also, that endorsement, do you feel like that was the beginning of rumblings within the LU community?
We all paid the price for supporting him. I mean, I've probably been lied about more in the last 4 years or on a smaller scale, of course, than Donald Trump, but I've been lied about in ways that are similar to what, he's had to endure. And then when I saw key people in his administration being arrested and put in jail, and I knew that my day was coming.
Falwell contends that day came in the summer of 2020 before his resignation in August.
I want to go into the few months before August of 2020, some there were some defining moments that happened. For instance, the face mask that you made and called, Governor Blackface.
Well, actually,
Governor
my
Northam.
assistant made it. Got that.
Okay, well, your assistant made it.
This is anyway.
But that was very controversial.
Yes. I didn't think it through.
The Fifth and Federal owner who tweeted, "Give me one of those masks," and that you watched on Twitter what happened in that night.
Don't shoot!
Those riots broke out.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that?
That's the fellow who owned that restaurant is my neighbor. I didn't realize that was the sole cause of it, but I mean, now that
it certainly lit the fire.
I was my mind was foggy during all that time.
Then there was this photo that Falwell posted on social media that turned heads.
Do you regret the photo to Instagram that you posted of you and Becky's assistant, or?
Yeah. Even though I had a lot of people who were outside Liberty who came to me, these are business people, and said, from Richmond and other places, we don't understand why evangelicals, we understood the joke of that picture right away. We don't understand why evangelicals would get upset about that. And so what, I mean, it was just a different way. People looked at it differently.
Were you drinking at that time too?
Yeah, I was, and I did after that, because it was just, for a while I drank too much.
Falwell also says he was suffering from a genetic blood disorder. Doctors told him the oxygen levels in his blood were at 77%. He says that also contributed to his choices.
Then, Giancarlo Granda came out and went very public.
The bombshell revelation that Falwell's wife, Becky, had an affair.
Hey, would you want to go back to my hotel room? And as a single 20-year-old, I'm like, yeah, of course.
I think it's very fitting that she's wearing that dress, because I believe she's the hottest first lady at any college in the country.
This is one subject that Falwell cannot speak on because of a documentary the couple took part in that's currently being shopped around. In the past, the Falwells have admitted to Becky's affair, but have disputed Granda's version.
Never Trump establishment Republican groups paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to the fellow in Florida who was to embellish his story, to make to take the story that the parts that were true that we told about, and to turn it into something else entirely.
And you attribute that to your support for Donald Trump?
There's no question.
So this firestorm is happening, and then your resignation comes. What can you tell me about what happened around that resignation?
The executive committee, I have to be careful because of the confidentiality, but the executive committee, one of them contacted me and said, if you don't resign by tomorrow, we're going to terminate you without cause, which means not because you did something wrong, but just because of the bad press. And so I went ahead and took the initiative and resigned on my own.
How did that feel? Did you feel regret? Did you feel a sense of like, oh gosh, thank God this is over?
I think I even said free at last.
You did say that.
I just felt like I'd been, I don't want to use the word pushed into doing what I did my whole life, but it was my calling, and so I followed it, and I did it. I didn't like the injustice of it. I didn't like the fact that it was based on lies.
Did you feel like you let your dad down in how that all happened?
No, there's nothing that was true that he didn't know about me already. He knew my lifestyle, everything about me before, and he still was adamant that I should be the one to lead Liberty.
Tomorrow night at 6, why Falwell decided to talk now, and what he thinks his father, Jerry Falwell Sr., would say now that Liberty's not run by a Falwell. There's a lot to unpack from my one-on-one interview, so we put some exclusive content on our ABC 13 WSET YouTube page.